Yeah, I'm not hearing a thing right now. Try it again. Oh, we're on Cedar Street. Oh, look at this. Right here.
Here comes a guy. Wait a minute, hold on.
St. Mary's Cemetery.
Oh yeah, you almost missed that sign with the cemetery.
Just get this whole defense thing, and they formed a coalition with them to take power, all right? Why do they go to the top? Hey, this is stuff to national security.
Foxes.
No, you know what it is? It's fortunate enough to
Private
Cedar
drive, no trespassing.
Jeez, it's well
CVB, HDH, GVD, here we go.
it's well labeled.
And here we are. Does it say Welcome Marconi Radio Club?
It says private property.
the guy one.
Where's RB?
Where's the guy one?
No, RB, no.
He was on the list.
Yeah,
I talked about it.
How is he doing, Mike?
not well.
Not well.
No.
He had a good attitude. He signed up for Needham next year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, chipmunk.
Chipmunk, buddy.
Wow. Look at this.
Building 2.
You want to get a look at that?
Yeah, look at that.
All right.
Coax?
We get to go out, climb up there? Check out the view from the top of the tower?
WGBH. Okay, we're going to park behind. Whose car is this?
I don't know. Look at all the people here.
All right.
5 days or 7 days.
Building 4.
All right.
That wouldn't bother anybody. And they get all the broadband they need.
Hey, Ralphie made it. All right. Where's NOK? Is he here? NOK is here. Okay. How are we doing?
Hey, safety works in the camera.
Usually not out of 2 hours.
Oh,
Been doing 80 pounds of flat.
One guy said,
He wasn't running right. Ready to go.
you get a list of all this.
Yes.
The hard line.
oh, all right.
The old hard line. Hugh, you think you could do some of that hard
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, geez.
Not a very good VFI day, is it? See the face? See this, Bruce? I must take a picture of it. It's huge. I must take a picture of its basal mounting.
You guys want to gather close, I'll try to talk about the noise level. It's going to be kind of noisy wherever we go. This is a 1300-foot tower. By the way, before I forget, this is Sumner from our club, the Framingham Club, W1BID.
Hi, Sumner.
How you doing?
And I'm Bob, W1RH. Early 1991 from California, and I'm Director of Broadcast Operations and Engineering for WBZ TV, WBZ Radio, WSBK TV, and WLWC TV, which is Channel 20 in Providence. And I still do a little bit of work for one of our FMs, Oldies 103.
A fine station. Is that on this tower as well?
No, it is not. This tower has on it channels 4, 5, let's start over again, 2, 4, 5, and 44. And then it has digital channels. The digital channel for channel 2, which is channel 19, the digital channel for channel 4, which is channel 30, the digital for channel 5, which is channel 20, the digital for channel 38, which is channel 39, and the digital for channel 44, which is channel 43. You guys probably, I give a talk to a lot of ham clubs. I just gave it to our club last week. You guys probably all know that the FCC has mandated that every television station in the country convert to digital. So they've assigned every TV station a channel. In most cases it's UHF. The only VHF in this area is channel 12 in Providence has been assigned channel 13. But in most cases, and in Boston all cases, they're all on UHF. So we've had to build duplicate facilities out here for all of our stations. Channel 38, the analog channel 38 that you guys all know and love, is over on one of the towers across 128. We bought that station, and we really don't have the capacity on this tower to put 38 on it, although we've been doing a study on that. But we do have, and did put the channel 39 analog or digital counterpart on this tower. What we did when we were told that we had to put digital stations on the air, we did a close look at this tower starting about 1992. And at that time we had an antenna on the top for channel 4. Right below that we had channel 44, right below that we had channel 2, and below that we had channel 5. And the tower was just full to the max. We couldn't put anything else on it. We also had WCRB FM, and we had an auxiliary antenna for WMJX FM on this tower. So we, just coincidentally, all of the leases for all of our tenants on this tower, WBZ owns the land and the tower, expired about that time. So we were kind of put in a position of sort of being a dictator, and we could really decide what we were going to do to accommodate all these stations. And we had a choice of either kicking them all off the tower and just building a digital facility for us on channel 30, or we could work together as a group and come up with some alternatives. So, make a long story short, what we did was we decided to put up a master antenna and feed all the UHF channels into this master antenna. We put up a combined antenna for channel 4 and 5, which 4 and 5 share. Standalone antenna for channel 2. And we are also putting up a master FM antenna, which a bunch of FMs will be on, but it's not up yet. In order to do that, the tower just could not handle the weight of this huge monster broadband UHF antenna that we wanted to put on the top. So the tower that you see here at the bottom is a 12-foot face, meaning each side is 12 feet. At 850 feet it tapers down, or it did then, to 5-foot face. And all the broadcast antennas were mounted on the 5-foot face. What we had to do, what our structural engineers told us we had to do, and we did this a few years ago, was we had to take down all of the 5-foot face down to the 850-foot level and replace it with 7-foot tower sections. And we had to keep all the stations on the air while we were doing that. That was a real nightmare.
All year long, too.
Wow. So it took us about a year to do it. And what we did was we put up auxiliary antennas for channels 2, 4, 44, and 5. And WCRB about that time decided to move over to another tower, and WMJX just vacated their auxiliary antenna here. So we put up permanent aux antennas, which I wish you could see, that are about 800 feet high for channel 4 and 5. Those are standby antennas now, and they're permanent, but we operated on those for about a year. And then below that was a temporary auxiliary antenna for channel 2 that worked pretty well, and a temporary antenna for channel 44 that just worked horrible. They just got tons of complaints from 44 for about a year. And so we had all the antennas below 800 feet. And and then the tower riggers had to come in here, take down all the existing antennas, take down all the 5-foot sections, and stack 7-foot sections on the tower. So it was just a massive project. In addition, the entire 12-foot face of the tower had to be beefed up. Most of the horizontal and diagonal sections you see on the tower had to be replaced. And every bolt on the tower, I think it was something like, I want to say 12,000 bolts, had to be replaced.
Was it a maintenance issue?
It was to make the tower comply with the current structural code.
The whole tower is over on that one.
Yep.
What's underneath there?
I can't tell you, I don't know. A lot of weight. No. You gotta let me give a talk to your club, because I have a whole talk I give ham clubs about that. They have so much spectrum. Each digital channel is the same bandwidth as a analog channel. It's 6 megahertz. In that spectrum, you can squeeze as much as you want to try to squeeze into it using compression. You can only really fit truly one high definition channel in there, but channel 2 is trying to squeeze a couple analogs in it. They have to give up a little detail on their high definition channel. We choose not to do that, so you only see one channel.
You guys are going to lose their hair.
Well, whenever you see 4x3 on it, do any of you guys ever seen the digital channels? No. Obviously,
Bob's got everything.
Yeah.
He's the rich guy among us.
He even has it in his ear.
Oh boy. I think his feet actually left the ground when you said that.
a lot of what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you guys unless you hear the talk I give the ham clubs. But to answer your question, anything you see that is 4x3 is simply an analog picture that has been cleaned up and placed on the digital channel. If it's occupying the whole screen, it's a true high definition. Okay, so I think I've told you everything I want to tell you about the tower. We are going to put this master FM antenna up. At the very top of the tower is the broadband UHF antenna, and we've got fed into that antenna channels 19, 20, 30, 43, and 39. And we also have analog channel 44 going into that broadband UHF antenna. We built a new building, which was where we gathered in the beginning. We opened that building up a couple of years ago. And in that building is all of the digital channels. All of our FMs will be in that building, and channel 44 analog is in that building. This building down here is just channel 2. This building is channel 4. And the building behind you there is channel 5. This tower back here is an old auxiliary tower for channel 4. It's only 200 feet high. It still operates. We can still operate on that antenna if we had to, although not many people can see it. It used to be good enough to light up the cable systems, but now we feed the cable. Just about every cable system is fed by fiber, direct fiber from the studio.
How much cost we got to that base?
Well, the base is sitting on piers, and since there's a lot of rock up here, the piers really don't go too deep into the ground. So, it's not a lot of concrete, but these series of tower sections over here was actually a major part of our job when we converted the tower for digital television. It's called a transmission line bridge, and what it's doing is it's all of these overhead bridges are carrying the transmission line from the studio buildings to the tower. And the tower does have an elevator on it. The elevator landing is right up there. It's kind of hard to see it. It's a 2-man elevator. 2 people can stand kind of butt to butt fit in there. It's a tight squeeze, but two guys could go up. It goes up to the 800-foot level, and then you got to walk. I built in California. I built a 2,000-foot tower, and that elevator went all the way up to the top, and that was quite a ride.
Now you say walk, is that like a staircase or is it ladder?
It's a ladder.
Take your walkie up there with you?
What?
You take your walkie up there with you?
Oh yeah, I actually had a hammer feeder up on that one. Two of them.
At 2,000 feet?
Yeah.
So you haven't snuck one on this one that nobody knows.
Well, we do have a Framingham Club operates a packet cluster node on this tower, but it's not right now. It's not operational. And actually,
Wait a minute, is that the W1NR?
it's W1FY,
Oh, FY, okay.
145.61.
Okay.
There's a 220 beam right up there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the link to our backbone. And we actually have a node in that little prefab building over there. We are putting, we're talking about putting a 2-meter voting receiver for a 147.15 repeater, and we also have a master antenna on the tower that covers 430 to 512. We have a number of commercial tenants on it. And I do have a port I reserved for a UHF ham repeater on it, and we're starting to work on that. So
What height is that?
that is at 1,200 feet. The transmit antenna is 1,200 feet. The receive
You got
antenna
room for
is
6
900.
meter repeater? How about the sailor repeater?
My repeater's 80 feet.
Any questions about the tower?
How do we got a repeater on there?
Lots of money.
What's the biggest number you can think of?
Hey, Bob, why are the transmission lines supported by springs like that?
Primarily because over a long run like that, the transmission line expands and contracts, and it can expand and contract as much as a foot from a day when it's 0 degrees outside to a day when it's 100 degrees outside. So in order to handle that expansion, there's going up the tower, the springs are actually vertical, so the line can move like this.
Things you don't think of.
Now, the question was, Needham has a height restriction of 1,300 feet. By the way, one thing I didn't tell you is before we did the tower work, the tower was 1,200 feet. When we went to digital, we didn't want to sacrifice the original height of the Channel 4 antenna, which was at that time on the very top. It was 1,200 feet high. So we added 100 feet to the tower. We had to go to the FAA for approval to do that. And we put a Channel 4 antenna below the UHF broadband antenna. The UHF broadband antenna is 100 feet long, tops out at 1,300 feet. Right below that is an antenna that wraps around the tower for Channel 4 and Channel 5, which is still at the identical height that it was before we did the tower work. Needham may have a height restriction, but we have zoning dating back to 1956 for this site. And that zoning said we could have a 1,500-foot tower and 3 200-foot towers. So much to Needham's dismay, yeah, Needham couldn't do anything about it. We came to them and said, we're going up 100 feet. They said, oh, you got to go to a hearing. And we said, no, we don't. We showed them the paperwork. They said, okay. So,
Is there private property within 1,300 feet of this tower?
yes, there is.
So if it fell over, it could fall on the private
Well, a
property?
guide tower always collapses like an accordion. So it will collapse upon itself because the guy wires bring it down upon itself.
Right on us, Whitey.
Right on us.
It's going to fall more over that direction.
I'm going to take the guy
Plus the earth.
I can take one, but I know there's
The
more.
question was how many sets of guy wires, and honestly I don't remember. We added guy wires. We replaced a lot of the guy wires when we did the job. Some of these guy wires are 1 3/4 thick. Kind of funny story that one of my guys when we were doing the work, they
What kind of guy are you talking about?
one of my
A man.
engineers.
Okay, oh, you guys. You're talking about guys and guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
One of my human beings, an engineer, when when we were doing the work, the tower guys, you know, were out here for about 2 years doing this work, and on rainy days they would, they had to replace a lot of the guy wires. On rainy days they they coil up the guy wires and do things they could do, work they could do on the ground. And they had these huge spools that were about 10 feet high that they would coil the old guy wire up on. And they had a forklift to put the spool on a flatbed truck. And they were doing this one day, and one of the spools fell off the forklift and starts very slowly going down the road. And, it was. I didn't see it, but to hear him tell it, he told the story at our meeting, at our fair meeting last week. It was going so slow that you could easily walk around it as it was moving, but it was so heavy you couldn't stop it. And all these guys could do was to sit there and watch this thing slowly go down the road and absolutely crush Bob's car.
Whoa. So who does most of the tower?
Well, tower work, there's a number of local tower guys.
Take the game one.
Yeah, although we don't use it.
GBH.
Not on this tower. And then the stations use their own engines to do the work in the buildings.
Have you had to increase security at all since 9/11 on the tower?
Well, we have had a couple alerts when the FBI has alerted us that, very quietly, that there is a threat on broadcast towers. And they'll tell us when the threat is. We'll bring extra security people out here. We have a gate at the up at Cedar Street that will lock. And then when they lift the threat, we'll let the security guys go, but that's all we've done out here.
But that could be for viewers, not necessarily terrorists, right?
Yeah, you know, they don't like some of the programming we have. We got video cameras all over the site.
Yeah.
Do you have any cameras on the tower?
Cameras?
Oh, like a webcam?
WBZ has a camera that's about 200 or 300 feet up the tower.
The traffic to look over, because I know 7 does. They've got a number of them where they look over.
Yeah, it's a traffic camera. It looks at 128. It wasn't worth putting the camera up any higher than that because a lot of time the tower's in the clouds.
Yeah, we see that. Yeah.
Hey, we're starting to see more of it, though.
Well, you want to go inside and look around?
Sure.
So we built this, we finished this building about 2 years ago. Anybody know why we got all this screen on the...
There's gonna be something falling.
Notice there's also kind of a grid protecting the transmission line up there. That's because of ice falling off the tower.
Ooh. I noticed some drops of water while we were standing down below. Big drops. Yeah. So that would be kind of hard if they were.
Wait a minute,
that was ice.
from a bird.
It's actually it's quite dangerous out here when you have a warm, sunny morning following a storm that might have put quite a bit of ice on the tower. You can have chunks of ice falling off this tower that are a foot in diameter.
You normally park your cars up here?
When that happens, the guys usually park their cars under there's some overhangs by the building.
Yeah.
There was a story of Channel 7's tower, which is the big self-supporting tower on the other side of 128. And one day, and there's absolutely no land at all around that tower. It's all industrial around it. One day, a UPS truck was underneath, and a big piece of ice went right through the top of the UPS truck, came out the bottom.
There's a question right there. What would be the advantage of having a freestanding tower versus a tower like this? Why wouldn't everyone have it?
They would never build a freestanding tower today because they simply are not structurally sound enough to go up that high. Unless you build something like the CN Tower in Toronto or a tower they're talking about building in New York City, which is a
Oh yeah, look at that.
massive concrete structure. But that Channel 7 tower is wouldn't really stand up by today's standards.
They even
Who
have
knows?
heaters.
Oh, wow.
Well,
it's about 30 years old,
If I
right?
remember right, they put heaters.
There are no heaters on this tower.
Well, I mean,
but
7 did it.
sometimes heaters are necessary. It depends on whether or not how broadband the antenna is. Our antennas up here are very broadband. Heaters aren't necessary.
Now, every time you service on that tower,
Every time somebody comes to us, we got. By the way, we have lots of services on this tower besides broadcasting. We go to our structural engineer, get precise details about the antennas, and he tells us whether or not it'll accommodate it. If it doesn't, what do we have to do to make it work? That's a cell. I want to say Cellular One. What are they now? Singular wireless site right there. Also, right above it is a Sprint. There's a number of two-way radios on it. There's a wireless ISP called Telestream that has wireless internet on the tower. A bunch of stuff.
Who has wireless?
A company called Telestream. They supply wireless internet primarily to businesses.
Probably none.
There's another tenant we just signed up called Community Wireless ISP, which will be selling wireless internet to residential. They'll be operational. It all operates on 2.5 and 5 gigahertz.
that tower was a good money maker.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in here. I will say, obviously, don't touch anything. Oh yeah, pictures. Take all the pictures you want, but these transmitters are on the air, and you just can't touch it.
Paved parts, same way.
Good. Channels 2 through 6.
You have a little chain, chain pull you lift the
to 100,000 watts public power so channels 2 or channels 4 and 5 operate about 16,000 watts ERP. UHF is not right up to 5 million watts ERP. Okay, I'm just going to show you. This is a digital transmitter for channel 38. Channel 38 has been allowed 135,000 watts ERP by the FCC. That's the maximum power they can operate. This transmitter itself is 5,000 watts solid state. It's the only solid state transmitter in the building here. It's also the lowest powered transmitter. The signal 38 puts out is fantastic. Channel 4's digital transmitter into the same antenna is 725,000 watts. It's the highest powered digital transmitter out here. This is the lowest powered with 135,000 watts. The digital signal is so robust, the coverage is almost the same from local.
Wow. So this is how many watts?
Well, this is a 5,000 watt transmitter. With the antenna gain, it's 135,000 watts.
It's a bird.
That's your power read out there.
Yep. Actually, about 6,000 watts. And this is a, I need one of those meters sometimes. This is a 16 by 9. This is the digital stream format. And you'll notice that there's no picture here. This is because they're transmitting an analog picture. We do a lot of things to the analog. We clean it up. We take all the analog garbage out of it. We double the amount of lines. You can put your nose right on the TV set and not see the scanning lines.
Wow.
It looks almost high definition. The true high definition picture will occupy the whole screen. This, by the way, is a touch screen. You don't want to touch this.
We're not touching anything.
Put on a sign there.
This is called an eye test pattern. And if you can see these holes, your transmitter's operating great. That's basically the
what it's looking at is signal to noise. The better the signal to noise, the better your digital signal will go. Where's our receiving? Right here? That's receiving right here, yeah. That transmitter over there, behind you, is operating about 5,000 watts ERP. I believe their transmitter output power is about 20,000 watts. And that's channel 44 digital transmitter, channel 43. It's got a single 2-bit. Transmitter was built in Springfield, Mass. by a company that called Cobart, got bought out by a French company called K1USN. And all of the rest of these transmitters use tubes in them that are called IoT. IoT stands for Inductive Output, also known as a splice probe. It's sort of a hybrid tube that's a combination of a tetra and a splice probe. They operate Class AB in digital service or Class C in analog service. So that's about it. We can move on to fast-moving thunderstorm came by, there were 4 guys up there working, and they had to crouch underneath the big antenna, which is about 2 feet in diameter, at the very top of the tower. And the guys said they counted 8 direct hits to the tower while they were up there. These guys that do that kind of work, for the most part, are not rocket scientists. Some of them,
Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that work.
some of them do the work, and they're pretty sharp guys, and they're the guys that end up owning the companies. But for the most part,
to stay on the ground.
now they do that. Okay, so this is WGBH Digital Channel 19. This transmitter's operating about 40,000 watts for a, actually, channel 2, I believe, operates the digital channel at half power right now to conserve electricity. I think, yeah. So, this is on channel 19 digital, that's channel 44 analog.
How many idea what the market is right now for
There's about
The amount of electricity that you're using.
substantial load? Imagine a dummy load for
What do you have for backup?
for power. That's right there. This building, because there's not a lot of viewers watching the digital signals yet. We don't have any backup power other than for the building lights. The generator outside covers the lights and keeps the pumps moving in case there was an extended outage and we didn't want stuff to freeze up. The other transmitters all have full power generators that we cover. We'll probably put generators out here in a couple of years.
Is there any level load? It says station load.
On a digital transmitter.
There's your SWR.
That's what it is.
The SWR?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, what's car or...
Audio.
Yeah, that's the audio carrier, right? Because you're getting it separate.
Yeah, right.
That's digital side, right? 4-1.
I think that one's looking at SWR. They can.
Oh, okay.
They have switches on them. They can read forward or reverse This is channel 4's digital, operating on channel 30. This is channel 5's digital, operating on channel 20. They're both Harris transmitters built in Quincy, Illinois. This is flashing red right now because we have main and backup exciters in the transmitter. We're having exciter rebuilt and updated right now by Harris, so we pulled out one of our exciters. Transmitter senses the fault, that's why the red light's on. If this were channel 4, there's no way we would ever operate on only one exciter because we have so much redundancy for channel 4, but for the digital transmitters, Like I said, there's no backup power yet for this building. There's just not enough people watching them. Channel 2 chooses to operate at 50% power, conserve electricity. We would never do that on the main channel. We operate full power. This is the highest powered transmitter in the building, operating about 45,000 watts out of the transmitter, and I take it back. This one is 31,000 watts out of the transmitter, 725,000 watts effective radiated power.
Why is that red bar?
We have an exciter out of service.
Oh yeah. It's all recorded. If there's a problem, by remote control, we can get it.
Once again, no station right now in the building is broadcasting a true high definition. It's run through about $100,000 box, cleans up all the analog garbage, doubles the amount of line, and puts together a picture that looks a lot better than an analog picture. And that's what we're transmitting over to digital. If it's true high definition, it'll occupy the full screen. This screen and that screen are the typical 16:9 aspect ratios used in all digital TV sets.
They're not transmitting now?
They are, but they don't have. Actually, maybe they have a monitor. Let's go over there. No, what? I don't have a key. They probably have a monitor in there. But. So each service in here has a transfer switch for a future generator, but no generators right now to transfer to. So the transfer switch are active.
Do you have no?
This is a bypass. These are the transfers. Russ Electric is
But it was, you said the camera cost $1,000.
actually, you can see up to about 800 feet where the tower tapers down. Remember I told you we went from a 12-foot base to a new 7-foot base? Actually, yeah, it is. It's in California. What? No, every antenna on this tower has been built by Dielectric and Raven Baby. Tower guys, there's an international term for tower guys. When they drop a wrench or something, they swing headache. Last headache.
You don't have a headache. Look at that. Just open it up.
It looks like you got a nice view of it. Yeah.
Now we talked about how much concrete, all the weight, everything right here. But where each one of these guide points is, what do you got there?
Yeah.
100 acres
that are tied to piers.
Yeah, how far down they go?
Not very far down because a lot of rock out there is very anchored to piers.
They said about the old man too.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think about it.
never ceases to amaze me that, you know, we're operating a solid-state transmitter at about 70 megahertz. Channel at WBZ Radio is operating 50,000 watt solid-state transmitter at 1 megahertz, and yet I still have a 1500 watt tube transmitter that I operate for the ham station. And I don't know why these ham radio companies can't build a 1500 watt solid-state transmitter.
Is this Class E?
This is, no, this is Class AB.
Solid state. I forget all the drawers, individual devices.
Each drawer is operating, I want to say 1,000 watts. You can count the drawers. It's a 50,000 watt transmitter. I think each drawer is about 1,000 watts. And you can pull a drawer out and not even phase the transmitter. You can pull about 5 drawers out before it starts to affect the power. Very, very redundant, very reliable transmitter. Yeah. If the drawer was flashing red, then you know there's a fault.
And they're all identical plug-in units?
Yeah.
A few spares in the back row in case one does go down?
Actually, we don't carry any spares. There's,
As you said, you can do without one.
yeah, you can do without about 5 of them before you reduce power. This is the backup transmitter for Channel 4. It's a 50,000 watt tube transmitter using tetrodes. Filaments we keep on it all the time. It can go on the air in a second. 3 seconds actually for a coax switch to transfer. That transmitter was installed in 1978. All of our audio
All ready to go for backup.
WBZ had a shortwave station in the mall called WBOS at the time. They shut it down in the early 50s.
Didn't they remodel the building down in the mall? And by accident,
I never heard that.
there was one guy that I met where they found it, they were all the stuff.
So I'm enjoying it. Is this new? Really nice. No, I've had it for a while.
Primarily,
You had the same pack quite a
Boston viewership watching off of these boxes which feed fiber directly to cable. They're actually backups. The primary fiber feeds are at the studio in Boston. But you have these big transmitters and all the money going into these transmitters, only about 20% of the viewers left watching off air.
Really? Wow.
All the viewers are watching these boxes.
That's taken the place of a lot of rabbit ears. Wow.
Conversations in Philadelphia.
Wow.
They strip a bunch of stuff out of it. Channel 2 is carrying several streams of digital. Comcast only chooses to carry one stream. The only way we'll let Comcast carry our signals is if they agree to leave it unaltered and don't compromise the quality. We're in a big fight with Comcast. In Philadelphia, we haven't gotten in touch. Yeah, I used to pick up the HGTV stuff when I was in Situate a couple of years ago. I did cable? No, no. Oh, yeah. Haven't bothered to put up the standard definition television, not high definition. Over 6 megahertz. Basically, the FCC says you can do anything you want with your 6 megahertz. We choose to send out one high definition stream. 44 chooses to send out 4 standard definition streams. Standard definition still looks pretty good.
It's amazing though, GDH can run that HGTV and 2 other stations. And I can't notice any.
There is quite a difference.
Is there really? That boy, that's...
Also, any of the broadcast engineers in town just shake their heads when they see because they're giving up on some significant bandwidth in the high definition. You can definitely see the compromised quality in fast scene transitions.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But I thought that was a product of interlace. You know, that's the reason why they're suppressing they're stealing gas. So that's what caused it. Yeah, you're right. You see a pan like that. My neighbor's
Is it straight? You can run underneath the column. Huh? Is it straight?
No, I don't think so.
There's no RF.
Last year, go out showing about the and there was a spud wrench, was the only thing that was holding this thing together. Platform where the spiral staircase
I want to go over here and walk in front of Carl.
Friday night, at one of the hotels on Friday night. I can't recall what, but it was,
just to look at how that was, and I'm just thinking of all the heavily populated area down around there. Was that Maryland, wasn't it? Baltimore, yeah.
Who's on the tripod over there? What station?
Which tripod?
One's at Needham on the other side. Off Needham.
Oh, the candelabra?
Yeah, right. Excuse me, I meant that, yeah.
The freestanding or the candelabra?
The
Freestanding is just channel 7.
no, it's the candelabra. That's really
The candelabra is 38, 25, and 56.
Okay.
And then the other tower has a bunch of FMs
So
on it.
living on South Shore, I live in Citrus. I don't have a road. I just point that just right up here, and it covers just about everything for the OTA.
We've been looking at moving 38 here, but I don't think we'll do it.
Is there a limit?
I've been up many towers in fairly high winds, up to 35 miles an hour. And it's amazing, you don't feel any sway at all. A self-supporting tower like Channel 7's will sway quite a bit. The guide towers won't.
But by the time you feel it swaying, it's too late.
The Empire State Building is 6 feet at the top, but you don't feel it.
Talked 400 feet, and then you had to put up a 300, then you had to reassemble it with a larger one. Now, I think all of us have worked with towers and put up our own 25, you know, and the gin pole and everything. How the hell, we're talking about like 800 feet up in the air, or 1,000 feet up in the air doing this. But, and what are they powering this through? Have some kind of a powered winch? Or
You guys got to hear this talk I give, because we got pictures of everything.
Unbelievable.
Got pictures of the gin poles and the winches, and yeah, big winches.
So they bring up each individual section of pipe, and bolt that in place, and then bolt in all the cross bracing. Or do you bring it up in there?
Yeah, right.
It's a pulley, came down all the way down to here, and back to the winch.
Yeah.
And so this was the pick point, right at the bottom of the tower.
Okay, but was
by
it
the
on
road.
this side here or on the road side? Yeah, okay. Because I would just think when you're doing something like that, things falling, and I could imagine all these feed lines and everything you have on this side.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Temporary guys, and rather than clamping down the temporary guys, they laced them, and the lacing worked loose, and the whole tower went down. Usually 2 or 3 guys get killed when that happens.
They had one I was hearing about when they were putting a new antenna on, and they dropped that. They came down and snagged the guy wire. That was
Antenna
years
could
ago.
drop and break the guy wire. Yeah, it's very dangerous work. That little beam, that's a 220 beam that we use for our packet cluster now.
Okay.
I'm glad I finally got to do this. I know you were doing a thing with the AV Science Club back, what was that, a couple of years ago now? Never.
Well, so that way, who's not going to be? Who is that going to deprive of having communications? All right, thanks, Dave. Good to see you. Yep. All right. Check that thing out. Get a reservation.
I mean, geez. That's built for.
I didn't know Channel 4 and Channel 5 use the same tower.
Yeah.
A few others too.
Others.
I think about 5 running, I think.
4, 5, 44,
38.
38.
39.
No 38.
No, 38.